Hi everyone, it's the Math Sorcerer here with Chegg. In this video, we're going to be discussing the library of functions. We're going to be looking at some of the most important functions in mathematics. Let's start with the constant function. So the constant function is the function f of x equal to a number, so it's constant. So I'll use the letter C to denote that it's a constant number. It's called constant because it doesn't change. Let me show you the graph. Here's the y-axis, and then here's the x-axis. And so let's say that C is here. So I'll draw the constant function in blue. It's just going to be a horizontal line. So that's the constant function. As an example of the constant function, you might have y equals 2, where y is the same thing as f of x. So in this particular case, here's your x-axis, here's your y-axis, and you would just have a horizontal line at 2. So you'd do 1, 2, and you'd have your little horizontal line like that. So it's a horizontal line, and then C here can be any number. So that's the constant function. Let's look at the identity function. This one is the function f of x equals x. No matter what x you plug in, you get the same output. And the graph of this one is pretty simple. It's just the graph of y equals x, because remember that y is the same thing as f of x. So it looks something like this. This would be the identity function. Now the squaring function, this is one that comes up a lot in problems when you learn about transformations. So the squaring function is f of x equals x squared. This is also called a quadratic function. Let me show you what it looks like. So here's the y-axis, here's the x-axis. And the squaring function basically looks like a U. That's the general shape for the squaring function. It looks something like this. The cubic function is basically f of x equals x cubed. This is one that also comes up quite a bit. So here's the y-axis, here's the x-axis. And this one's a little bit harder to draw than x squared. I will do my best. It basically flattens out at 0. It looks like this. And exactly at 0, it's flat. At that precise moment, it's flat, and then it comes back up. So pretty good. That would be the graph of f of x equals x cubed. And we have the square root function. This one is super important as well. That would be f of x equals the square root of x. So here's the y-axis, and here's the x-axis. And the square root function starts at 0, 0. And then it goes right. And it does go up forever. It just goes up very slowly like this. So that would be the square root function. And the last one that we're going to discuss is the reciprocal function. This one is f of x equals 1 over x. This one has a funkier graph than all of the other ones. Let me show you. So here's the y-axis, and here's the x-axis. And so this one has asymptotes. It's got a vertical asymptote at 0, x equals 0. And it's got a horizontal asymptote, y equals 0. And the graph, which I'll draw in blue, looks like this. It just approaches the asymptotes. This one is called the reciprocal function. These functions are used a lot in mathematics. When you do translations and transformations, you end up graphing them. So you'll take like the square root function and you'll shift it to the right by 3 or to the left by 3, or you'll reflect it across the x-axis. And so that's why it's important to have these memorized. Let's just go through them one more time. They're totally worth memorizing. So the constant function, it's the function that never changes. It's constant. And it's always the same y value. So no matter what x value you plug in, if I plug in 2, I'm going to get C, right? No matter what you plug in, you get the same thing. The identity function, it basically spits out what you plug in. So if you plug in 3, you get 3. If you plug in -1, you get -1. That's why it's called the identity function. And the squaring function basically squares everything you plug in. So for example, if I were to plug in -1, I would get negative 1 squared, which is 1. So that's why you only see 0 and positive values in the range of this function. It can never be negative because everything is being squared. And the cubic function basically cubes what you plug in. And the square root function takes the square root of a number that you plug in. For example, if I were to plug in 9, I would get the square root of 9, which is 3. And the reciprocal function just basically divides by whatever you plug in. So if I plug in 2, you end up with 1 over 2. So pretty simple functions, and the most important thing is that you know the general shape. Not only will they help you later when you do transformations, but they'll help you when you learn more advanced mathematics. Knowing what these basic functions look like will really, really help you with your math skills. I hope this video has been helpful, and hopefully you've learned some mathematics. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out more videos on Chegg. Until next time, good luck.